But with that, it's just like training. When you're doing the bench press and you're trying to get 10 reps, but you get stuck, you hit that 7, and then you're like, crap, I can't get that 8th. I'm stuck. I know I can do it, just my body is just not letting me right now. Sometimes, absolutely. Take a step back, release it, breathe, and then try it again. And I guarantee you'll do it. It's with that 1% improvement, that always striving to see what you can go 1% better on. Have you ever read the book Atomic Habits? It's such an incredible book, and James Clear talks about this as well. He breaks down the anatomy and the physiology of how your mind, how your body creates habits. It's so spectacular, because once you learn that stuff, you'll be able to really discover how to create an unstoppable human being, which is yourself. Right? It's incredible. He shares this example of the British cycling team, but they were trying to get the Tour de France. Right? They were trying to win that race. And for years, they just came up short. They failed. And then they hired a new coach. And this coach decided to go a different approach. He said, okay, let's look at everything that we do and see how we can make a small improvement across the board, rather than just making a massive 10% increase in one area. Let's see how we can do something very manageable, something minute, but that will make a drastic change in the long term. What they did was they looked at the seat cushion of the bike and they analyzed, okay, which is going to be most aerodynamic and most comfortable, right? They looked at the bike frame itself. Okay, which bike frame is going to be the most aerodynamic? Maybe getting 1% better, right? 1% better with speed. Okay, and then they looked at the tire, the treads. What is going to actually increase the speed and durability of this tire to make the whole bike go faster? And then they looked at the uniform. They switched from the outdoor uniform to the indoor. If you ever ran track and field, maybe you know this, like the difference of the outdoor uniforms versus the indoor. The indoor was a lot tighter to the skin, tighter to the body, and you always ran faster with that. It's the same thing because those are more aerodynamic. So they made the slight improvements to the cushion, to the bike frame, to the tire, to the uniform, to the helmets. They even brought in their own pillows so that their athletes could sleep a lot more effectively. And they also made sure the mattresses were really cushiony so that way the athletes got good, efficient sleep. So they went deep into those alpha brainwave states where you're getting the deep REM sleep. So that way they could recover and heal and be their best. Over the course of this one season, making these small 1% improvements, they won the Tour de France. The next year, they won it. The next year after that, they won it. The next year after that, they won it again. They kept winning. They kept crushing it and leaving their competition so far behind. And it was all because of the small 1% improvements, those little things. So when we can relate this to cold calling, when we can relate this to sales, marketing, to business development, to leading a team, to becoming your best, don't just think about, okay, when I'm making cold calls, okay, I made 20 calls. Now I need to make 50. Don't just think about that, because that's overwhelming, right? That's like double the number. That's scary. You start to do it, and then you start to feel anxiety. You start to be like, oh, dude, this is too much. So break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces. The power of one more. That's why this is so powerful. Is because instead of going from 20 to 50, let's go from 20 to 21. And then the next day, let's go from 21 to 23. Let's just keep adding one each day. Before you know it, you're building the habit to always do one more, but you're also growing the volume tremendously. And that's going to start paying out for you more, because as we know, the more you do, the more you're going to get. So it's my point here. Always strive to do that 1% better, that 1% improvement, and always strive to ask yourself, am I growing or am I dying? Right?